For 9 months, they treated her like background noise. An Overwatch sniper assigned to watch empty desert while real operators did real work. When she warned them, they ignored her. When she insisted, they doubted her. Until, from nearly 2,800 meters away, she saw something no one else did. A shadow that didn't belong. A rifle already aimed. With seconds to decide and no authorization to act, she made a choice that would either end her career or save 12 lives. What followed was a shot so precise, so impossible, that silence fell across the entire operation. From wherever you're watching, let us know in the comments. And if this story has earned you respect, click like so others can find it too. The desert wind cut across the observation post, carrying dust that settled on everything. Rifles, gear, skin. Staff Sergeant Maya Chen sat motionless behind her spotting scope, back straight, breathing measured. She'd been in this position for 6 hours. The sun had climbed, peaked, and begun its descent. Her water bottle sat untouched beside her knee. Below, in the valley compound, the SEAL team moved through their reconnaissance pattern. Clean, professional, unaware. Maya's scope swept the ridgeline across the canyon, 2,800 meters out, far enough that most would consider it background terrain. She tracked slowly, methodically, the way she'd been taught years ago by instructors who no longer remembered her name. Behind her, Corporal Davis shifted his weight, boots scraping against rock. "Anything?" he asked. Maya didn't answer immediately. Her eye remained pressed to the glass. "Nothing confirmed," she said finally. Davis exhaled, bored. "We've been up here since 0400. There's nobody out there." He stood, stretched, joints popping in the dry air. Maya remained still. "Sit down, Corporal." "Chen, come on. We're watching empty desert." "Sit down." He obeyed, but the irritation bled through. "You know what they're saying back at the FOB, right?" Maya adjusted her scope a fraction of a degree. "I don't." "They're saying you volunteered for this post because you can't handle real operations, that you like being away from the action." She said nothing. Davis continued. "Lieutenant Harris told me you requested Overwatch duty 3 times this month. The lieutenant talks too much. He also said you used to be somebody before." Davis leaned forward, studying her profile. "What happened?" Maya's jaw tightened, barely perceptible. "I'm watching the ridgeline. You should too. There's nothing." "Corporal Davis." Her voice dropped lower. "Pick up your rifle and scan grid 7-4. He sighed but complied, lifting his weapon without enthusiasm. His scope wavered as he searched the empty terrain. "I don't see anything." "Keep looking." 30 seconds passed. A minute. Davis lowered his rifle. "Chen, this is..." "There." Maya's voice cut through. "Grid 7-4, elevation mark 3. Behind the stone outcropping shaped like a broken tooth." Davis raised his scope again, squinting. "I see rocks. Just rocks. Look at the shadow. It's wrong." "What?" "The shadow doesn't match the sun angle. Something's been placed there. Recently." Davis stared harder. Maybe. I can't tell." Maya reached for her radio, then stopped. Her hand hovered over the transmit button before returning to her scope. She knew what would happen if she called it in. She'd called in 3 observations last month, all dismissed. 2 turned out to be goat herders. 1 was wind-blown canvas. Command had been patient but firm. "Chen, we need confirmed threats, not maybes." The message was clear. She'd used up her credibility. Maya's finger traced the edge of her scope. She could stay silent. Let the patrol continue. By the time she confirmed anything concrete, they'd be clear of the kill zone anyway. But her instinct, the one that had kept her alive through 2 deployments before this desk job masquerading as a deployment, that instinct screamed. She pressed the transmit button. Overwatch to ground team leader. Possible threat. Grid 7-4. Elevation mark 3. Request you hold position. Static. Then a voice. Calm, but edged with doubt. Ground team leader to Overwatch. Define possible. Maya's throat tightened. Shadow inconsistency behind stone outcropping. Could be equipment placement. More static. She imagined the SEAL team leader checking his watch, calculating lost time against the word of a sniper who'd been wrong before. Overwatch, we're on a timeline. Can you confirm hostile presence? Negative confirmation, but recommend. Ground team proceeding. Keep eyes on and advise if situation changes. Out. The radio clicked off. Davis looked at her. They're not stopping. Maya's eye returned to her scope. The shadow hadn't moved, but something about it pulled at her, the way a wrong note pulls at a musician. She increased magnification. The image shook slightly from atmospheric distortion. She compensated, breathing slowly, letting her body become part of the weapon system. There, a glint, microscopic, the kind of reflection that comes from glass or polished metal. Her heart rate didn't increase. Years of training had taught her to recognize the physiological response and suppress it, but her hands moved faster now, adjusting windage, checking range data. Davis, I need you to calculate wind at 2,800 meters, now. Chen, they already said. Now, Corporal. Something in her voice made him move. He pulled out his weather meter, fingers clumsy with sudden urgency he didn't understand. Wind is 3.2 meters per second, shifting northeast. Maya's hands moved across her rifle, making adjustments so small they were almost invisible. She'd zeroed this weapon 100 times. She knew its personality, its tendencies, the way it pulled slightly left past 2,000 meters. In the valley below, the SEAL team continued their approach pattern, 12 men moving with practiced efficiency toward the compound entrance. Maya's scope returned to the shadow. This time, she saw it. A shape, human, prone position, and the unmistakable profile of a long rifle. Her breath stopped. The enemy sniper was tracking the SEAL team leader. Maya could see it in the angle of the barrel, the way the position was oriented, a perfect Overwatch position for a perfect ambush. And at 2,800 meters, no one else would see it until the first shot was fired. Maya's hand moved to the radio again, but she knew what would happen. They'd ask for confirmation. She'd describe what she saw. They'd debate. Seconds would pass. Maybe a minute. She didn't have a minute. The enemy sniper was settling into position. Maya recognized the micro-adjustments, the final preparation before taking a shot. Her radio crackled. The SEAL team leader's voice, ground team at breach point, preparing to. Maya didn't let him finish. Ground team stop. Confirmed hostile sniper, grid 7-4. You are in her sights. Overwatch, confirm. No time, break right now. The authority in her voice cut through protocol. Below, she saw the SEAL team leader make a split-second decision. His hand went up. The team scattered right, moving behind a low wall. Through her scope, Maya saw the enemy sniper's barrel shift, tracking the movement, compensating. She was good, professional, patient. Maya's crosshairs settled on the shadow. At 2,800 meters, the bullet would take nearly 4 seconds to reach the target. The wind would push it, gravity would pull it, the air temperature, the rotation of the earth, the microscopic imperfections in the bullet itself, all of it mattered. But Maya had made this shot before, years ago, in a place and time that nobody at this fob knew about. Her finger touched the trigger. She didn't think about the fact that if she missed, she'd be wrong again. That command would question her judgment, that her career, already balanced on a knife's edge, would be over. She thought about the SEAL team leader, about the 12 men who'd scattered on her word alone. She thought about the enemy sniper, who was also just doing her job. Professional, competent, probably invisible to her own commanders too. Maya's breath released. Slow, controlled. The rifle spoke. The recoil pushed against her shoulder, familiar and honest. Through the scope, she watched the bullet's trace, visible for just a moment in the afternoon light. 4 seconds felt like 40. The shadow moved, just slightly. A disruption in the shape, then it was still. Maya's radio exploded with voices. Ground team to Overwatch, did you just fire? She keyed the mic. Confirm, threat neutralized. You took a shot at 2,800 meters without clearance? Maya's voice remained steady. An hostile sniper had your team leader in her sights. She was preparing to fire. Threat eliminated. Silence on the radio. She could picture them processing, recalculating, trying to understand. The SEAL team leader's voice came back. Different now. Quieter. Overwatch. Can you confirm the kill? Maya increased magnification. The shadow was gone. In its place, a shape that was no longer threatening. No longer anything. Confirmed. More silence. Then, distance? 2,012 meters. Wind 3.2, shifting northeast. Someone whistled over the open channel. The SEAL team leader's voice returned. Overwatch. Ground team is advancing to verify and secure. Stand by. Maya lowered her rifle slightly. Beside her, Davis stared, his face pale. You just... At that distance? Without... She didn't respond. Her hands were already breaking down the shot in her mind, cataloging what worked and what could be improved. It was instinct now. Muscle memory, from a life before this one. 20 minutes later, the radio crackled again. Overwatch. Ground team leader. Go ahead. Target confirmed. Enemy sniper. Syrian national. Weapon is a Steyr HS-50. She had eyes on us for at least the last 10 minutes. You saved 12 lives today. Maya closed her eyes for just a moment. Copy that. Overwatch. The SEAL team leader's voice changed. Became something else. I need to ask, who the hell are you? Maya's finger hovered over the transmit button. She thought about answering, about explaining, about telling him that she used to be Staff Sergeant Maya Chen, Tier 1 sniper, with confirmed kills in 3 theaters, that she'd been embedded with JSOC units, that she'd taken shots nobody else could make because nobody else could see them, that she'd been reassigned after filing a report nobody wanted to hear, that she'd been quietly moved to Overwatch duty, out of the way, safe, invisible, that every day for the last 9 months, she'd watched operations unfold while people whispered about what she used to be. Instead, she said, I'm Overwatch. Just doing my job. Copy that. A pause. Chen, we're coming to your position. We need to talk. She knew what that meant. Questions, debriefs, explanations for why she took a shot without authorization. But as she began securing her equipment, she noticed Davis looking at her differently. The boredom was gone. The dismissiveness, replaced by something that looked like respect mixed with confusion. Chen, he started. Why didn't you tell anyone you could do that? She adjusted her rifle strap. Movements precise. Nobody asked. The debrief lasted 4 hours. Maya sat in a small room at the FOB, fluorescent lights humming overhead. Across from her sat the SEAL team leader, Commander James Webb, she learned, and an intelligence officer whose nameplate read Morrison. They'd reviewed the shot 17 times, checked her calculations, verified the wind data, measured the distance with GPS 3 separate ways, 2,112 meters, confirmed kill, no collateral damage. Commander Webb leaned back in his chair, studying her. The shot's not what I'm trying to understand. Maya waited. What I'm trying to understand is how a sniper with your record ends up on Overwatch duty for 9 months, without anyone knowing what you're capable of. I was assigned here. That's not an answer. Morrison cleared his throat. Staff Sergeant Chen was reassigned from a JSOC unit following an incident report she filed regarding... I know what she reported, Webb interrupted. I read the file. What I want to know is why Command thought the right response was to bury her in the observation post. Morrison shifted uncomfortably. The matter was deemed sensitive. Sensitive. Webb's voice went flat. She reported a superior officer for ignoring intelligence that got 3 operators killed. And instead of investigating, Command reassigned her to the middle of nowhere. Commander, I'm not at liberty to... You don't need to be. Webb stood. Well, because I'm going to make a call, and I'm going to request Staff Sergeant Chen for my unit, permanently. Maya looked up sharply. Sir, that's not necessary. Yeah, it is. Webb turned to her. You saved 12 of my people today. You did it without hesitation, without authorization, and without any guarantee it wouldn't end your career. That's the kind of operator I want watching my 6. I just took a shot. No. Webb's voice was firm. You saw something nobody else could see. You made a call nobody else would make, and you executed perfectly under pressure. That's not luck. That's who you are. Maya's hands rested on the table, motionless. With respect, Commander, people have short memories. In a few weeks, this will be a story someone tells in a bar. Nothing more? Webb sat down again, leaning forward. Let me tell you what's going to happen instead. Tonight, I'm sending a report up the chain. It's going to detail exactly what happened today. The distance, the conditions, the lives saved, and it's going to recommend you for a commendation. Sir. But more than that, Webb's expression softened. I'm going to make sure every operator in my command knows your name. Not as a ghost story, not as someone who used to be somebody, as the sniper who saw what they couldn't see, who acted when they needed her to act. He slid a piece of paper across the table. That's my direct line. You call that number. You've got a place on my team. No questions asked. Maya looked at the paper but didn't touch it. Morrison gathered his files. Commander, the reassignment request will need to go through proper channels. Then start the paperwork. Webb stood. Staff Sergeant Chen, you're dismissed. Get some rest. Maya rose, nodded once, and turned toward the door. Chen. She stopped. Webb's voice was quieter now. The officer you reported? The one who got those operators killed? What happened to him? Maya's jaw tightened. He got promoted. Last I heard, he's training new recruits at Benning. Webb's expression darkened, but he said nothing. Maya left the room. She walked back to her tent through the evening heat. The base was quieter now. Most personnel at Chow were in their quarters. She preferred it this way. Less eyes, less questions. But as she rounded the corner near the communications building, she found a group of soldiers gathered. SEALs. She recognized several from the patrol. They saw her and stopped talking. Maya kept walking, expecting to pass by. Instead, one of them stepped forward. Staff Sergeant Chen. She stopped. Yes? The SEAL, a sergeant with a weathered face and gray touching his temples, extended his hand. Sergeant First Class Martinez. I was on that patrol today. Point position. Maya shook his hand briefly. Martinez didn't let go immediately. Commander Webb told us what you did. The distance. The conditions. He paused. Ma'am, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've worked with the best snipers in the world. That shot, that was something else. I was doing my job. No. Another SEAL stepped forward. Younger, with sharp eyes. You did more than that. Webb said you called it in and we blew you off. You could have stayed quiet, let it play out. Instead, you put your career on the line. Maya's shoulders tensed. It wasn't about my career. Exactly. Martinez's voice was firm. That's why we wanted to find you. To say thank you. And to tell you. He glanced at the others, who nodded. If you ever need anything at all, you've got 12 brothers who'll answer the call. One of the younger SEALs spoke up. We thought you were just another Overwatch babysitter. We were wrong. Maya's throat tightened unexpectedly. She'd prepared herself for debriefs, for scrutiny, for the grinding bureaucracy of reports and investigations. She hadn't prepared for gratitude. I appreciate that, she managed. Martinez finally released her hand. One more thing. Webb's putting you in for a Bronze Star with Valor. We're all backing it. Every single one of us is writing a statement. Maya shook her head. That's not necessary. Yeah, it is, Martinez interrupted gently. Because what you did today matters. And we're going to make sure people know it. He stepped back, and the group nodded. Some offered salutes, others just quiet acknowledgement. Maya returned the gesture and continued toward her tent. Inside, she sat on her bunk in the dim light. Her rifle case lay beside her, scratched and worn from years of use. She opened it slowly, checking each component with practiced hands. Her fingers traced the stock, feeling the subtle indentations she'd carved years ago. Marks for confirmed kills in places whose names were still classified. For 9 months, this rifle had sat mostly silent, a tool without purpose. She thought about the shot, 2,112 meters. The wind, the calculations, the perfect stillness required to make the impossible routine. She thought about the enemy sniper, another woman who'd been in the right place, with the right skills, waiting for the right moment. Professional, competent, doing her job. Maya wondered if that woman had also been invisible to her own commanders, if she'd also fought to be taken seriously, if she'd also carried the weight of being underestimated. 2 snipers, 2,812 meters apart, both excellent, both professional. Only one had seen the other first. Maya closed the rifle case and lay back on her bunk. Tomorrow would bring more questions, more paperwork, maybe even the transfer Webb had mentioned. But tonight, for the first time in 9 months, she felt something shift. Not pride, not vindication, just the quiet knowledge that her competence, the thing she'd carried silently through transfers and dismissals and whispered doubts, had spoken for itself. The rifle had done the talking, and the world had finally listened. 3 days later, Maya received orders. She was being transferred to SEAL Team 7, effective immediately. Commander Webb's request had been approved with unusual speed. She packed her gear methodically, the same way she did everything. As she was loading her rifle case into the transport, Davis approached. "So you're really going," he said. "Orders are orders." Davis shifted his weight. "Chen, I wanted to say, I'm sorry for what I said up on that ridge about you not being able to handle real operations." Maya secured a strap on her pack. "You were repeating what others said. Don't apologize for that." Still, he looked uncomfortable. "I should have known better. I should have listened when you told me to scan that grid." She turned to face him. "Corporal Davis, you did listen. Eventually. That's what matters. Will you teach me?" The words came out rushed. "I mean, if you have time before you go, how to see what you see, how to read terrain like that." Maya considered. Then she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small notebook, its pages filled with observations, calculations, wind patterns. She handed it to him. "Start here. Everything I've learned about this AO is in those pages. Study it. Practice it. And the next time someone tells you to look at something, believe them." Davis took the notebook like it was sacred. "I will. I promise." "Good." She shouldered her pack. "You've got good instincts, Davis. You just need to trust them more." The transport driver called out. "Time to move." Maya climbed into the vehicle. As they pulled away, she watched the fob shrink in the distance. The observation post where she'd spent 9 months. The place where she'd been sent to be forgotten. The place where, instead, she'd remembered who she was. SEAL Team 7's compound was different, louder, more intense. Operators moved with purpose, every action economical and precise. Commander Webb met her at the entrance. "Staff Sergeant Chen, welcome to the team." "Thank you, sir. Let me show you around." He walked her through the facility, pointing out key areas, the armory, the briefing room, the operations center. Finally, they reached a small alcove where photos lined the wall, operators past and present, some in dress uniform, others in combat gear. Webb stopped at an empty space on the wall. "This is going to be yours," he said. Maya looked at him questioningly. Every operator on this wall earned their place through action, through decisions made under pressure, through competence proven when it mattered most. He met her eyes. "You did that 3 days ago, at 2,112 meters. So you belong here." She wanted to say it was just one shot, just one day, but Webb continued before she could speak. "I know what they did to you. The report you filed, the reassignment, the 9 months of being buried." His voice was firm. "That ends now. Here, we don't care about politics. We care about results, and you deliver results. I just want to do the job, sir. Then you're in the right place." He gestured to the operations center. "We've got a briefing in 20 minutes. Mission profile came through this morning. High-value target, complex terrain. We need overwatch." He paused. "We need you." Maya adjusted her rifle strap. "I'll be ready." "I know you will." The briefing room filled quickly. Operators took seats, reviewing tablets and maps. Maya sat in the back, observing. When Webb called the room to attention and introduced her, some operators nodded. Others studied her with professional interest. "Staff Sergeant Chen is our new senior sniper," Webb announced. "Some of you already know what she's capable of. For those who don't, she made a confirmed kill at 2,012 meters 3 days ago. Saved 12 lives. 0 collateral damage. A low whistle came from somewhere in the room. Webb continued. "She'll be primary overwatch for operations going forward. Her word on threat assessment is final. No debates. No second guessing. Clear?" "Clear, sir," the room responded. Webb nodded to Maya. Staff Sergeant, anything you want to add? She stood slowly. 12 pairs of eyes tracked her movement. I've spent the last 9 months watching operations from a distance, she said quietly, calling in observations that weren't always believed, making assessments that weren't always trusted. She paused. I don't expect trust to come automatically. I expect to earn it, the same way you all have. Martinez, the SEAL from the patrol, spoke up. Ma'am, with respect, you already earned it. Others nodded. Maya's expression didn't change, but something in her posture relaxed, just slightly. Then let's get to work. The mission launched 72 hours later. Maya established overwatch position on a ridgeline 1,800 meters from the target compound. The SEAL team moved through the valley below, practiced and silent. Through her scope, Maya tracked their approach, scanning, calculating, reading the terrain for threats that nobody else would see. Her radio crackled. Webb's voice. Overwatch. Ground team leader. We're approaching phase line Alpha. Your assessment? Maya swept her scope across the compound. Rooftops. Windows. Dead space. There. A thermal signature. Second floor. Eastern window. Ground team. I have one possible hostile. Second floor. Eastern window. Thermal indicates body heat, but no movement yet. Copy. Confirmed hostile or possible. Maya increased magnification. The signature was stationary. Too stationary. And the position was wrong for a lookout. Negative on hostile. Assess civilian, likely sleeping. Window position doesn't provide tactical advantage. Acknowledged. Continuing approach. The operation proceeded. Maya called out 3 more observations. 2 confirmed threats, 1 structural weakness in the perimeter wall. Each call was precise. Each call was trusted. When the team secured the target and began exfiltration, Webb's voice came through again. Overwatch, ground team leader. Clean operation. 0 compromises. Your eyes kept us invisible. Copy that, sir. Stand by for pickup. And Chen? Yes, sir. That's exactly why you're here. 6 weeks passed. Maya integrated into the team with the same quiet efficiency she brought to everything else. She didn't socialize much. Didn't join the card games or the war stories traded in the rec room. But when missions launched, when lives were on the line, her voice on the radio carried weight. The operators learned to trust her assessments, to act on her word without hesitation, and slowly, the whispers changed. No longer, that's the sniper who got reassigned. Instead, that's Chen. She sees things nobody else can see. One evening, Martinez found her in the armory, cleaning her rifle. Got a minute? He asked. Sure. He sat down across from her. I wanted to tell you something. About that day. The 2,800-meter shot. Maya continued working the cleaning rod through the barrel. You already thanked me. This is different. Martinez leaned forward. After we verified the kill, I checked the enemy sniper's weapon. The Steyr. You know what I found? What? She had a notebook, full of range calculations, wind patterns, target assessments. He paused. She was tracking us for 3 days, waiting for the right moment. She was professional, patient, highly trained. Maya's hand stilled. I'm telling you this because... Martinez chose his words carefully. That shot wasn't just skill. It was one professional recognizing another. You saw her because you understood how she thought, where she'd position, what she'd wait for. I just did the math. No. Martinez's voice was firm. You did more than that. You respected your opponent enough to think like her. That's what made the difference. Maya resumed cleaning, but her movements were slower now. She was good, Maya said finally. Excellent, actually. Her position was perfect. Her patience was perfect. She trailed off. She just didn't see you first. Martinez finished. Yeah. They sat in silence for a moment. You know what else I found? Martinez said. What? She had a photo in her pocket. Her family, I think. 3 kids. Husband. He met Maya's eyes. I thought you should know, because I know it matters to you. The people you engage. Who they are. Maya set down the cleaning rod. It always matters. That's why you're good at this. Because it matters. He stood to leave, then stopped. One more thing. Webb put you in for that Bronze Star. It got approved. Ceremony's next month. Maya nodded slowly. Martinez smiled. Figured you wouldn't make a big deal about it, but the team will be there. All of us. Because it matters to us, too. After he left, Maya sat alone in the armory. She thought about the enemy sniper, about the notebook filled with calculations, about the photo of a family waiting somewhere for news that would never come. She thought about competence, about professionalism, about two women separated by 2,112 meters and everything that distance meant. And she thought about visibility, about being seen, about finally, after years of being invisible, overlooked, dismissed, being recognized for what she'd always been. Not a hero, not a legend, just a professional doing the job right. The Bronze Star ceremony was brief. Maya stood in dress uniform while Webb pinned the medal to her chest. The SEAL team stood in formation behind her, silent and respectful. Webb's voice carried across the yard. For exceptional valor and professionalism under combat conditions, for a confirmed kill at 2,812 meters that saved 12 American lives, for demonstrating the highest standards of skill and judgment. Applause followed. Handshakes. Brief congratulations. Maya accepted them with the same quiet grace she brought to everything else. That night, alone in her quarters, she placed the medal in her footlocker alongside her other ribbons and awards, tokens of a career that had never been about recognition. She pulled out her rifle case and opened it. The weapon gleamed in the dim light, perfectly maintained, ready. This was what mattered, not the medals, not the ceremony, the rifle, the scope, the calculations, the shot, the silent distance between where she was and where the threat existed, and the competence to close that distance when it mattered most. True strength doesn't announce itself. Competence doesn't require applause. The most critical work often happens in silence, seen only by those who know where to look. Recognition may come eventually, or it may never come at all, but the work remains. And sometimes, at exactly the right moment, the silent professional becomes visible, not through self-promotion or spectacle, but through a single action that changes everything. At 2,112 meters, in 4 seconds of flight time, Maya Chen proved what she'd always known, that being overlooked doesn't diminish competence. It only delays its discovery. The distance was never the hardest part. The hardest part was waiting for the world to finally see.